ghost. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible. A half-sunken sea fort. Its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower. A lonely birch tree grows out of it.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RC. The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. I know, sir. Are you interested in a new and exciting book? It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books, postcards, and some board games. It's called Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Books? Postcards? Easy. Even a kid would know all of this.
Yes, that's exactly it. You got it, sir. What about board games? Okay, sir. This was all very enlightening. Can I help you with anything else? Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock. Feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store. I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed. Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go... I wouldn't really say it like that, but I guess so.
We can go into the bookstore and ask about the case, but I don't see much more to look into here.
Yes. Please do also look at our wares inside. The postcards and board games are there, sir. Nothing really, sir. Mum doesn't allow me to sneak around in the back rooms or the cellar. I don't really know what's there.
It does not manifest itself in any way. It does not exist. I liked it better when we were talking about whether it's appropriate to stand out in the freezing weather. No such thing.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, sir? Maybe I can tell you about some of our books instead. Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals.
Crime is a deviation from the law, punishable by either a civil or criminal sentencing. It's what the law prevents.
And it's kind of like a puzzle too. You can guess who the criminal is or how the good guys are going to catch him. You don't look much like a policeman. Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen. Head, yes.
No, your mind. Not head, child. Heads.
Isn't that very dangerous? Unlike you, sir. He's just a fictional character. He's no match for you. Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books. It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man. Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir. It happens, but usually the guy gets rich in the process. Or should actually be rich himself, but has lost his family property unjustly, like during the revolution or something. Those are unhappy books, for most of the pages. People sad about what they have lost, but then it all turns out just fine in the end. These are not very common. You can't have a choice between bad and bad. Nobody wants to read a story like that. Well, maybe then it's fine. Maybe if the lady then decides not to pick either, because she doesn't need a bad man. Yes, that would be interesting. I haven't read many of those. Maybe you should ask Mum. I don't think it's a romance story if the main characters break up, though. No, I don't know. Yes, she knows books, definitely.
What was that? An idea for an unfinished novel stuck somewhere in your forebrain?
I haven't read many of those. I'm sure she can. That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life. I guess, yes. People in books are always very interesting, especially the romance people. Maybe some about other books? Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians, those kinds of people. There's usually something extraordinary about them. I think that's why people read them, to find the secrets of their fame.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
But it does make the famous people more famous.
Annette's expression remains ever so helpful, but she doesn't say anything.
Isn't that kind of a childish thing for a grown-up to say?
When she grows up, and if she grows up to be clever, she'll discover there's no such thing as a grown-up.
You look all all wrinkly and hairy, like an old person. I wonder how I'll be when I get old. Maybe I'll also get all wrinkly.
You fail to deduce anything substantial. She waits intently.
Come on, don't be silly. That's not a proper deduction.
The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Heimdall somewhere.
Oh, Man from Heimdall. A very popular series of adventure novels. They're awfully immoral and violent books. Blood and violence, scantily clad women, epic narratives, all those mystical things he encounters. They're bound to grab those with little imagination and nothing to do. What does it matter? They're all the same. However, the customer is always right, they say. If you're a novice of the series, I'd recommend Heimdallaman, the Man from Heimdall. It's supposed to be a good introduction to the series.
Rows and rows of Heimdallamen blur your vision. You make out some titles. Man from Heimdall and the Mammoth Riders. Man from Heimdall, Return to Heimdall. And the solipsistic Man from Heimdall and the Heimdall Man. Maybe 100. Man from Heimdall and the Sages at the End of the World. Man from Heimdall and the False God. Man from Heimdall and the Scorched Earth. Man from Heimdall, the Heimdall Colonies. Man from Heimdall and the Swamp Beast. Man from Heimdall and the Snow Crabs. Not even close. Man from Heimdall in Hell. Man from Heimdall and the Forest of Slaves. Man from Heimdall under the lake. Man from Heimdall, Heimdall burning. There's even The Trial of Death, a pastoral combat game book set in the world of Heimdallaman, and so much more. A twinge at the back of your head makes you flinch. Your eye starts twitching. Your hand reaches toward a book with glossy cover art of the very muscular Man from Heimdall in chains, kneeling in front of a staircase leading to a throne. A woman sits on the throne, leering at the man. Between the throne and the Heimdallaman lies a bonfire, casting shadows on the wall. The shadow of the woman's headdress looks like a pair of devil horns. The title reads, Man from Heimdall and the Devil Woman.
The entire series is also endearingly racist, if I may add.
Oh, sirs, I know. This really isn't representative of our values, but the store has to cater to its customers.
The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Heimdall novels. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Raubritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 rial. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a Pick Your Path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral. Cavern books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 rial. That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense. These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over. A couple of spook novels hide amidst all the detective books. Thrilling tales of spycraft and daring-do.
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf? You see Dick Mullen on the job. Get Me Mullen. The Stalwart Adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the Murder in the Orchard. The Sordid Affair of Dick Mullen. A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the Murder House. The Final Case of Dick Mullen. An Obvious Lie. Dick Mullen in the Clock Tower. The Ordeals of Dick Mullen. Dauntless Dick. Dick Mullen's Funeral Pyre. The Murder of Dick Mullen. Oh no, turns out he faked it to solve a case. Yes, there's also The Dame Who Did It. Farewell, My Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. A dark tide turns. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch a murderer, Dick Mullen must become the murderer. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen. Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic Hard-Boiled Phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? Then this is the book for you.
Of course. Such violence and immorality. Enjoy.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
The plaque on the shelf reads, Biographies of Famous People. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell.
I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power. A very influential historical figure, but surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things. Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one. Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside. Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. It's all just vapid egoism. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook. High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other. Next to that, Revacholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a rundown drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse, though, but not too long. I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. These three things are very important to the working class mind. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to and which costs more than this book, is garbage and would only give you cancer anyway, without even curing your cold or anything. Wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though it is important to note, when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. And there's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers. Oh no!
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise. This large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is La Caillou. You are here. Another, far away in the southwest, Seminese Islands, Ile de Fantôme, Ozon, Laurentide, Fas à la Mer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades into a blur of dotted lines, black and white, disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you. You can, on Caillou, Revachol, a single black star, on Ozon, Fondelaire, and Vilmandoux, on Archipelagos, Croyan-Moran, Villiers, on Seminine, Olduvai, and on Laurentide, Deora of the Seven Seas. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce torn apart by history. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Windy is the north azimuth. Grad is the northeast azimuth. Samara is the east azimuth. Seo is the west azimuth. Isolas, they're called. Connections to other worlds. Words past the Insulindian, unknown to you. You only know you've never been there. You have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you, and very, very far away. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Rivershell East. Huron, it's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forburg. It's almost as bad, and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst. You feel you're just west of Coal City, somewhere above Jamrock and close to Coal City. It's not really a map. It's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. A date in the upper right corner says 48. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see the jagged boxes of an industrial harbor, even the whirling in rags there.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. Yes, yes. Are you interested or not?
Slowly, you move your hand toward the map attached to the board. Before you even reach the map, you're interrupted.
Perhaps not. It's against RCM policy to defraud small business owners.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only. Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you, urging you to buy more books. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with empty eye sockets stares at you. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck, bad dreams, curses, and other supernatural scourges. Inhabitants of Ile de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands down south. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains remain shut before you. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries out once more.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences. It's too dangerous.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
Why? It's not like anyone was killed there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers.
The curtains do seem frail suddenly, not robust enough to contain a slippery darkness.
No, it's just a storeroom for the employees, I told you. Now please step away from the curtains. You do? My God, even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir. No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide to do anything extreme.
Talking is always good. Go see what she has to say. The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you.
Welcome to Crime, Romance and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Sir, don't be ridiculous. I certainly will not give you money. I would be doing you a grave psychic disfavour. One has to earn one's success, even if one is a police officer. Handouts are nothing but manipulation. All they do is make you dependent.
Certainly there are good things to be said about dependence.
Now, hey there. Sounds like someone isn't taking responsibility for the energy they bring into this space. Tribute? Power? These are not the traditions we're used to in this part of the world. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. Cursed? Who said that? Annette? I will have a word with her. This place is not cursed. It has a robustly magnetic energy. Good for commercial activity. My business is thriving, sir.
What in God's name is she talking about?
Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job like a proper girl? Wonderful. Did you talk to her? Great. On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her? Come now, it's not personal. It's about proper sales practices and market research. I expect an answer. My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette. You must be kidding. There's nothing like that happening. Good, sir. What does a young child do with money anyway? No, I save it for her as a fund. She's securing her financial future out there.
Such criminal behavior would not happen in more developed countries.
Those countries will realise they've raised a lazy and spoiled generation. Are we done with the jokes now?
Yes, we've had quite enough fun here. Right.
Mind your own business, sir. In our society, people don't get to tell each other how to raise their children. It's none of your or anyone's business.
Denial is the way she copes with criticism. The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses.
Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go. Get back there. The books await you.
She smiles and nods. See,
I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important to you. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be drawn to the books.
she recites it like it's a poem, or like she's playing a role she's grown tired of.
A spell? As if. This place doesn't need any spells or hoodoo mumbo-jumbo. This place has wonderful energy. Okay, fine. It's because this place is cursed. Just like Annette said, they don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Host of hosts, she prays. Guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the curtains.
Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. It's not just that, officer. We're dealing with something supernatural here. It's the cacodemons feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie, lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%.
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather questionable way to describe a group of people.
It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Wow. Void raves. You have new words.
Most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away. Leave the spirits be, so they can return to their slumber.
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective.
Okay, but please, only a few questions.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses. Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no para-detective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
You look like one. The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
You're part Simonese. Oh, it means our meeting couldn't have been mere chance. The hand of fate guides us. But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us.
I can assure you he is a police officer. Very knowledgeable.
If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key to the warded door behind the curtains. Take it. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse. What you discover in there.
What you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared. You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
Inexplicable feminist agenda. There is something you need to see, sir. We found the remnants of an ancient artifact lodged in your hypothalamus. It is a cylindrical object, piss-weathered and smelling of liquor. The paint is peeling off, but you can clearly make out the letters Revolutionary Feminist Agenda on the hull. It appears that some time ago, before you became a joke, you were an actual feminist. Somehow you've come to that conclusion. Perhaps you can work your way back. A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Only an echo. No one is there. A hollowed-out, dark echo. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm. No, it's many years of combined self-neglect. All you feel is pain and weakness. You have to surrender now. Cop suffers final heart attack. A detective lieutenant of the RCM passed away yesterday. His death, though abrupt, did not come as a surprise to those who knew him. He was the heaviest drinker I'd ever met. Captain Ptolemy Price, the deceased superior officer, commented. That ain't easy on the ticker. He loved his liquor, sure, said Detective Chester McLean, friend and colleague. But I think before he ever had a heart attack, his heart was broken. According to an official statement given by the RCM, the officer was on the brink of solving a murder case. You see,
Excuse me, officer. The back room is nothing. Now, please.
she speaks. Oddly enough, the more she tries, you see some kind of charm. This is a tradition. Inhabitants of aside from poking at it, just as
Sir, don't touch that. Parapsychological.
she looks away, mumbling.
No, it's just a storeroom for the employees. I told you. Now, why? I am sorry.
The curtains do seem frail.
You do? My God. Even more reasons not to. No!
Talking, the curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you.
Welcome to crime. Be welcome. And please take sir. One has to.
Certainly there are.
Now, hey there. Sounds like fighting enemy. My philosophy is everyone just getting along. I am. The proud... I already told. Just let it...
She recites it like it's a poem.
A spell? Okay, fine. Are you happy now?
Host of hosts, she prays. God,
It's not good.
wow. Void,
Yes, the wards help to keep the doom at bay and the curse. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin. It's not just that. There's something wrong with this building. Oh, this. There are numerous...
desert pygmy shamans.
Most certainly...
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective. Slither up to her, you silver tongue.
Are you sure? You're no parody.
You look like one. The lieutenant.
How do you...
Here we go.
Your parts, but...
Oh, I can assure...
If you promise, good off. Thank you, sir.
Do not act surprised. You know of
You have? Yes, some Oh,
what you discover. Probably.
Annette, yes. Wonderful. Great. My precious. Her dedication brings joy to my heart, as a young girl should be, with the proper attitude.
The woman before you.
Goodness, you were already doing... Everything is on the shelf.
She smiles and nods.
Okay, but please.
The woman before. Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride. That's just what it's like, life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it, day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop and a sprinter and a money printer. Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich? Get out of here. You're a pauper. You work harder than anyone. Almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that? Boo-hoo. The system is broken. The establishment is keeping me down. That's not the fuck yeah attitude you're used to. What is this? Look, the immigrants are cool. The immigrants play cool music. Everyone likes them, especially the women. Don't hate on the immigrants. They've got nothing to do with you living under a boat. That's right, 100%. Fucking G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gossamer state that is Revachol? Every time you wipe your ass, they got their direct and their indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax, alimony, one tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus there's the stuff people in other countries pay for. That makes them ask for more money from you. Here, total tax duties add up to 98% of all your money. What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples? Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free the people. Keep it real. Keep it street. Keep foaming at the mouth furiously on the tax issue. Hey, psst. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Of course you do. You are failure. You are communism. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped, shat on. While everyone else is out partying, having a callous laugh, you will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready. Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs. Inexplicable feminist agenda. You see You see.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle, only a hollowed-out, dark echo. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
Detective, you're the one in charge.
A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. No one does until they get smashed under the barbell.
You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm. Yeah. Scream. All you cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading very. All you cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading. No, it's meant. All you cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to. Yeah, there's no cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left. Yeah, there's no cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading. No, all you cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spread very. All you cop suffered. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading very. There's no cop suffers. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spread very. All you cop suffered. The barbell waits patiently on the floor like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's no, there's no cop suffer. barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's very. There's no cop suffering. The barbell waits.
You're right. The weight it would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore. It's dark. And the flashlight works a lot better if you hold it in your hand. Yes, you might even call it a feature of the universe that you need to hold tools to use them. Right, now let's get to it.
Some areas are inaccessible without your flashlight. After you've acquired it, go to your inventory and equip it in.
This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just leave it behind? This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible printer.
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling, disconnected. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth drawer, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. Yes. Is that the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still no. I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for Fortress accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to these filaments.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Fortress accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios. Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress accident. Good. Please repeat the password. Received.
Don't worry.
Fortress accident. Is there? Yes.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian. As for me, now, please tell me if there's any. Thank you and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. Nothing happens. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic. translucent Welkins, with organs shining under their skin, and even ether Welkins, hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. You should adopt one of those Welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a Welkin. One of the Welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Tuorg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real. Political commentary. That one has a great beard, too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario. A desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. It looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. Minimi stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." The full text reads, "Heat death of the universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the 30s. Hobocop. Technically, you wouldn't be a cop anymore, but a hobo. That would mean game over for the cop chapter of your adventures. But who knows where the hobo part takes you? To the bar? The old l'Assommoir? To the pier or the sewers? To Le Royaume, where for 300 years they interred the dead. You could plunder royalist crypts for long-forgotten triple malt bourbon, then fight the Aramakan beast that lurks the bottommost sepulchres. The secrets of the city are all yours at last. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open. studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. They must have had massive airwidth. These things don't come cheap. Someone very important. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. A list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing Muindi, Insulinda, Kotla, Grad, Samara, and even Il Mara. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God, it's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. Exactly. This schedule, I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. Guillaume Le Million. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In 1938, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning.
What is this place? No, it's a gym. Though it looks like no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a faint beam of daylight falling from the window. Other than that, the room is dark. An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. This must be where the entity lives. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. No one's home. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm, your jaw. There's no cop suffers. An iron safety curtain curves before your eye. This must be where the... What an odd thing to do. Still nothing. Your flashlight, some of the rock, these lithe, translucent. You should have one of the world kits. The hull.
An inordinate amount of time. Some people, this looks like, some people really... Well, just look at those...
The photo, entire, you see a pinned postcard. This, it looks a bit like an academic calendar. Mini-me, as time goes.
Looks like it.
A note in the bottom left corner, the handwrite, the full text reads. This the whole thing resembles history classes. Radio frequent, unclear. You think so? They must have had massive... a conductor, whoever decides to... A list of names. There's no...
My God. Exactly.
Nothing.
What is this place? Yes, but no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have...
Some specks of dust ship. An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Sounds good.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost, and the bear's eyes are glowing red. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. Hobocop. Technic. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Someone who owns a radio computer? My guess is as good as yours, officer.
Which is to say, not very good.
It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer.
It's like the production schedule you found. Only this one's an off-site copy.
Some local miscreant, probably. There are tons of them running around in Martinez, ready to stir up trouble. We usually dispatch our junior officers to deal with them. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the iceberg fridge.
In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped in a passionate embrace. The tagline reads, Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen. That seems to sum up the premise nicely.
Are you really reading that, detective? Well, you won't find it in there. Those books are much more about ravishing dames and gunplay than real police work.
The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night. Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindian coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights. 2 days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence.
What's the matter, detective?
The lieutenant shrugs, resigned to the idea that his profession will rarely, if ever, be accurately represented in art and literature. Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Deneuve. Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullen begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp. But he's also dirty and increasingly paranoid that someone's going to expose his role in the drug ring. He would certainly have the motive and the means, but the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was able to conceal it long enough to commit the murder? A typical privileged twat. In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's administration. The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height, and while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that looks suspiciously like his own. Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually hit someone, let alone plug them 3 times in the chest the way Spillane got did. That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Diana Deneuve. Could it be that this is all over a sordid love triangle? One evening, Diana Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Deanna Deneuve turns to Mullen and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you. Always aim for the center of mass." Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body, if they haven't been tipped off already. The heat is on. If Dick Mullen can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away for life. Can you solve the case before the cops close in? What is it, detective? It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to do it. That's why Dick Mullen never lets anyone get too close. There was never a time when he wasn't a detective. He was born a detective. For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book for what it is. A collection of brittle, cheaply printed pages held together by glue made from the hooves of horses. You won't find the answers you're looking for here, in other words. Is it really so evil, detective? Then why are you still here? It sounds like you're in for a long, hard road, detective. But then, what does this book know? It's just a poorly made piece of pulp garbage made to be consumed and discarded. So, who did it, detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve? Could be. Who knows? Only one way to find out. You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You're turning pages so fast, you don't even notice the ancient spine coming unglued. You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your fingers aren't quick enough. They're gone. Dozens of pages scatter across the floor. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost. It's possible that you could gather and reassemble the pages, but it would take way too long.
Ah, yes. The problem with mass-market paperbacks. They are not made to last. Perhaps this is a sign that you should get back to solving your own murder, huh, detective?
In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. Guillaume Lemillion. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid. It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs. The echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying or what's producing them.
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs. You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left, very. All you cop suffers. Your flashlight, some of the writing, these light translucent. You should at one of the welk, your eyes go. These light translucent. You should at one of the welk, it's the hull.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into draw. Some people really. This looks like Just look at those
The photo, entire, you see a pinned post. The photo col, entire, you see a pinned post. This, it looks mini-me. As time
looks like
a note in the handwriting, the full text. This the whole thing, history classes, radio free, unclear. You think so? They must have had someone, a conduct, whoever, a list of, there's
My God, exactly.
nothing. It's just.
What is this place? No, I doubt it.
Some specks of an eerie feeling rises.
Sounds good.
You see, the bear looks oddly red. The lieutenant doesn't answer. A gust, the lieutenant takes a.
Of course. Let's take a look in.
The shelves are empty. You pocket the note. A friendly. The paper still.
Good question. I know. What is even.
The fridge buzzes with an. Hobocop. The note.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is someone has scribbled. You find the Philip,
Someone who won.
which is to say,
It belongs in
it's like the.
some local miscreant. I don't know.
In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the cover features the tagline.
Are you real? Well, you won't.
The story opens. Spillane needs 2 days, desperate to clear his name.
What's the matter?
The lieutenant. Of course, Mullen didn't, and not just any. Secrets are the currency of Deneuve. Not only is the local police outwardly, he would certainly have the one evening. Deanna Deneuve, as the two always aim, whatever it is. When Mullen comes, the heat is, can you solve the case? If so, who did it? It could be. You begin, you try dozens of pages.
Perhaps this is.
In your hand, you. Guillaume Le Million. A thick layer of.
Looks like it. No one has used it.
It's dark. The echo.
What are you doing? Wait, really? We shouldn't.
A lush. Maybe you could paint something. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm. Yeah, there's the cop suffers. A thick layer of
Looks like it. No one has used it.
a lush. Maybe you could paint something with it. It's dark. The echo is.
What are you doing? Wait, really? You should investigate. See if someone's upstairs. You're right.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
Hello? Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
you hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole.
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find.
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in handy here. No, this is going to need something else. Some kind of super pry bar. Don't even try to open it with a regular pry bar. You're just wasting your time. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand, detective.
Equip the pry bar by going to the Tools tab in your inventory. From there, you can equip it to a held slot.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. This orange machine is buzzing. The ice squeaks beneath the pry bar. You think you've got the bar jammed in there pretty well, but the lid simply won't budge. You see the pry bar's metal handle bending right before your very eyes.
Yeah, well, that's a good pry bar. I'm not criticizing it, but this ice cream maker is frozen shut. It takes an advanced tool to get it open. I have no idea, officer. This ice cream maker isn't important enough to requisition a special tool.
Sooner or later, you will stumble upon a tool mighty enough. Then we will know what's in this mysterious ice cream maker. 2 cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. An electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has 1 cable missing. The bear's eyes are dead and empty. Ice inside the fridge slowly melting. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes? Answers? How strange. These days people only come to me for dice and role-playing games. I'm not sure how helpful I'll be, but go ahead and ask.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shelves like stalagmites. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dyes out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items.
Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. What do you mean by cursed? All right, how about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I'll give you your cursed dye. Great, see you in 8 hours then. Was there anything else? Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dyes for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. It's just capitalism. We only hear about tales of success, so it's often surprising to realize how many ventures actually fail. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? All right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the Whirling in Rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dyes to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
I was just about to ask, what do you think? Do you think the curse is real? Is it now? I've always thought it's a rather mundane and boring place with no supernatural surprises in sight. Well, if you ever find a way to explain all those inconsistencies in the curse, let me know.
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad. It's not about the haircut, it's about the confidence.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's boxing club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milieux. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-Roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs. Anything else? There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. Yeah, the atelier didn't know it either. They produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. At least it had some spark to it. Most young designers just combine lace with leather and call it original.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her, legs up. they're not moving.
Anything else? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just the props. Why return them? Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed, what were the other ideas?
Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. You did what? I can see. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool. Why is everyone doing drugs in this place? Even the taxidermist?
Megatherion, a mega wild beast. It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life by telling you to do more drugs, mostly. Do you? Well, good luck keeping it under control. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
Little sparkling embers under the window.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Officer!
And why would you do that? No, I don't feel hot. We're in a derelict smokestack. If anything, then it's cold here. And what technique is that?
Miss, I apologize for my colleague's behavior. He's still recovering from an unusual medical episode.
Officer, this isn't how mature adults deal with their feelings.
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, it's eaten them all up now. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total.
Fuck me? Please leave the raid.
Nothing you cop gives up. Two cables and electrics. Only the black cable is plugged something close.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant read.
Hello. Did you try? So what?
She's got a direct.
Yes, mostly. Yes. Amelia is like, mostly. Then how did you get? I'm a novelty dice maker. Very good. Take a look.
It almost no falsehoods up.
How did I? Some of my friends were not the spec.
Some of those nice people.
Nothing.
The lieutenant.
Your window.
I'm sorry, detective. Well, during day.
She's heard.
But I never saw. I might have.
It's light.
It's really hard to make. It's an odd. I might have.
It's light here.
It's really hard to make
She not.
anything else, officer. Of course. Tell me what you have in. What do you mean by cursed? All right. Great. See you in 8 hours then. We're inside. But when
Creative.
When she arrived here,
I've heard the stories. It's just Plaisance, the bookshop lady. I've heard that her all right. But it's not just the bookstore that's and then there have been
maybe it's just because she's.
malignant entity? What does that even mean? Is it not? Well,
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough. You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in.
excuse me.
Officer!
Undressing in
Miss,
That doesn't really excuse it, does it?
more or less.
Oh, quite a.
Yes, I think
A bit of It's not about the hair.
you're right. It looks like you haven't let any. You mean me anything else? It wasn't merely a gym. A kind man. It didn't.
It's not really.
Eventually, the oh, there's. And they never clean. It's a sub.
Nothing changed.
don't worry.
Good luck with that. They used to be. And not. At least it had.
As she.
Anything else? Oh boy. The place
Indeed.
that was written by.
Sounds like she really doesn't know how to be a female ally.
Oh, but they did. They did show up to work, and not alone. There were also acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the ice cream stand. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, eventually Ravishau Ice City lost the price war to its rival. Glass, you did what? I can see. The taxidermist
Sounds. Why is every.
mega theory. It's an imaginary by telling you to do more drugs. Very good. Anyway, now you know the
Little sparkling embers.
Anything else? Another they were made. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. The usual
Men like that.
Sure, I have no idea.
They were just. Maybe you could make a sword out of one.
Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a dad?
This appears to be some...
The radio computer.
What he means... This is the Ream Civic radio. The machine lights up. It's empty. The filament tube, like a smooth draw. The filament slides into a bar of the static.
Good afternoon. Please repeat. Is this the filament you have? Yes. Is that good?
Password. Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human...
No.
A hint system.
Still, I am...
I'm afraid we are not doing...
Now, proceed.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up.
Fortress accident. Fortress 1. Fortress accident.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes.
She repeats passwords.
I will as now. Please tell me it's good. Proceed.
Don't worry.
Fortress, thank you.
Tiles on the cube. The filament slides out. Nothing happens. The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. Turns out you're no beast, just an old man with bad form.
Weightlifting was never my favorite either. At the station gym, I mean. I prefer running. It clears your head. Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer? Chalkboard? No, that's not it. I think...
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like a puzzle box.
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the game master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real, immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... yes, especially in here. Okay, let's keep moving.
and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus? Yes, yes. How was it?
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
I knew it. Oh, such horrors that have been thrust upon us. But what else did you find? Did anything survive? No, of course not. Have you located the entity? Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Some of these old paperbacks just don't have the durability. I would be happy to sell you another one, but unfortunately, it's the last copy we had in stock. A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
The narrative she's built herself, it does need tearing down. She's squeezing on the pendant too tight. A drop of blood in her palm. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Oh, how horrid! I knew something wasn't right about that place. Tell me, did you find a way to break the curse? Of course. I trust my Seminese wards and charms kept you safe while you perform the ancient rites. All that matters is that the energies are retreating. I can already feel the curse lifting. It will be a long time until we're fully free of it, of course, but still. Thank you, officer. Truly, you've brought a better psycho-emanation to this humble bookstore, and that's no small achievement.
She so badly wants this to be over. She would have believed anything.
All right, then. All's well that ends well.
Hello, sir. How is the investigation going? Found any curses yet? Oh, that's great! I hope exciting adventures lie ahead. And maybe you can help Mother become less afraid. Which book was it, sir? Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I haven't read that one yet. I wish I could help you.
Give up. You'll never find the answer. There's no other copy of Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity here. There isn't. If only you had more time, more resources. Who knows what you could have come up with. Maybe if there had been more money and less speed. Or more speed. Or that, yes. Either way, you might have been able to come up with an answer, but not like this. Hang on, you can do this. Use your imagination. You know who the suspects are. Just make it up. So, who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Denuva, detective? Just fucking pick one. Sure, why not? Everyone knows politicians are corrupt. And what's more corrupt than letting your entitled spawn run around offing people? Way to go, public corruption cop. You've seen firsthand how the powerful tip the scales of justice in their favor. But today you tip them back. Just a little. You can rest easy tonight. You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there, and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building, before heading south. Must have been in a hurry.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city. I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them separate.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went, if you find the time. An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. East Delta Commerce Center? This must be the name of the doomed commercial area. An off-key melody starts playing after you ring the doorbell. Then a woman picks up the receiver.
Kuno, please stop calling here. Grown-ups don't have time for your stupid games. Please don't do that. Doorbells are not toys, and this one isn't even working properly. Please don't call us again. Thank you.
A single beep indicates that the line has gone dead. You ring the doorbell, but no one answers. What an ominous name for a hair salon. Doesn't bode well for anyone's hair. All you hear is static, but no one answers the call. You ring the doorbell, but nothing happens. You wait for a minute or two, but all you get from the call box is silence. No one. Looks like someone has melted half the plastic off with a lighter. The doorbell doesn't work anymore. You hear static from the intercom speaker. It sounds as if someone has picked up the receiver but isn't saying anything. You can almost hear them breathe.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order?
She sounds almost antique, as if her voice was being played off an old wax cylinder. A receiver must not be working properly. Wait, but what happened to Slipstream SCA? There's no Tricentennial Electrics on the list.
My God.
The lieutenant exchanges a look with you.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice here.
She must be mistaking you for someone else. Who cares that you don't remember her? Just go along with it.
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months. I thought you didn't care. Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean.
A spot of static overrides her words. When she speaks again, it sounds like she's submerged.
It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget.
She sounds like she's about to cry. She doesn't answer. Silence. The only thing you can hear now is static and waves washing ashore on the bay. Another seagull passes by. It's getting cold standing here, staring at the silent call box.
It must have been some kind of faulty wiring. We should maybe stop playing with this doorbell. It looks ancient.
You press the number sign on the keypad that terminates the call. 12 name cards on the call box read. Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. Stronger, healthier, and, alright, maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember any of your past relationships. Oblivion's the ace in your corner. There's a light buzz as you press the doorbell, waiting for her to answer the call. It's cold outside, and you can hear the wind blowing into the speaker. There's the static again, whispering like a seashell pressed against the air.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order? My gosh.
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax. Distance yourself from it.
It's you. My gosh. I didn't think I would hear your voice again.
Wait, is she...
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call?
Is this some kind of joke? The voice from the intercom doesn't answer, but you can hear her breathing. Wind blows into your microphone again, crackling and echoing in the box.
Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean. It's so...
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed completely. Her quiet sobs sound old and distant, as if her voice is being played off a wax cylinder. Her sound melts into the static from a long-distance phone call. From time to time, you can hear people talking in the distance, but can't make out any words. This is where you hung up the call the last time, but the recording is still going. The phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and someone walks by in a pair of heels. The static is like a warm blanket wrapped around the sounds. No one replies, but the static grows stronger like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different from the one before. Glorious and total somehow, crawling inside your head. Her words are too cold to comprehend. She smells of sodium lights and rain streaks on car windows. Eyes like pilot lights watch your shape in dark hallways. Gutter.
So... it was a recording trapped in the circuitry from some ancient tenant. This sometimes happens. Shall we conclude here? We have other mysteries to solve. Don't take this the wrong way, but during our short stint working together, something weird is almost always happening to you.
That is true. Silence. No one's home at Fortress Accident. Silence. No one answers the doorbell. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you. Silence. No one answers your call. This button looks new, but someone has removed the name card. Nothing happens when you try to ring it.
This button looks new. I wouldn't be surprised if it hasn't been connected yet. Is it the dice makers?